The golden age of Hollywood sold a fantasy so powerful that it shaped how the world understood beauty, romance, and success. Movie stars weren't just entertainers, they were ideals. Their faces glowed impossibly on silver screens, their voices carried elegance, and their lives seemed wrapped in perfection. Studios carefully curated every photograph, every interview, every public appearance to maintain the illusion. But illusions rot when you look too closely. Behind the flawless smiles and tailored tuxedos existed a reality so grotesque that studio executives spent fortunes to keep it hidden. This wasn't about secret affairs or drinking problems. This was about habits so revolting that audiences would have recoiled in horror had they known what was happening just moments before the director yelled action. These stars weren't just acting on camera. They were performing their most demanding roles off-screen, pretending to be clean, normal, hygienic human beings. Co-stars begged not to work with them. Crew members developed coping mechanisms. Entire production protocols were created to manage filth, decay, and bodily horror. Today, that curtain comes down. We're exposing the shocking private behaviors of Hollywood's most celebrated icons, secrets so disgusting they could have ended careers overnight. And we begin with the king himself, Clark Gable, Hollywood's king with a rotting mouth. Clark Gable didn't just play romantic leads, he defined them. His confident swagger, piercing eyes, and devilish grin made him the embodiment of masculine perfection. Women across the world fantasized about being kissed by the king of Hollywood. The women who actually had to kiss him felt something very different. His breath, according to multiple co-stars, was unbearable. The problem began in his early 30s when severe gum disease, neglect, and heavy smoking destroyed most of his natural teeth. MGM quietly replaced them with high-end dentures, hoping to preserve his image. What the studio couldn't control was what Gable did with them. Between takes, he removed his dentures and placed them wherever was convenient, wrapped in handkerchiefs tucked behind plants left under hot studio lights for hours. Bacteria flourished. Combined with alcohol, cigarettes, and indifference to oral hygiene, the result was catastrophic. Actresses described kissing him as an act of endurance. One compared it to embracing decay. Another reportedly vomited after a scene and demanded a body double for all remaining intimate moments. The studio responded with extreme measures. Kissing scenes were scheduled early in the morning. Script supervisors carried mints. Makeup artists created peppermint mixtures strong enough to mask the stench, briefly. Nothing worked. Some actresses rubbed menthol beneath their noses. Others turned their heads at the last second, redirecting kisses to cheeks. Complaints from young actresses were met with termination. Established stars were told bluntly, "He's Gable. You'll deal with it." While audiences swooned, women on set braced themselves. But if Gable's secret was confined to his mouth, the next star's habits assaulted every sense at once. Marlon Brando, genius actor, walking dumpster. Marlon Brando changed acting forever. His performances felt raw, intimate, electric. What audiences didn't realize was just how natural he was, in the most disgusting way imaginable. Brando didn't believe in bathing regularly. He wore the same clothes for days, sometimes weeks, regardless of sweat, stains, or smell. On jungle shoots, directors reportedly begged him to change his shirt. He refused if it felt comfortable. But his most revolting habit involved food. Brando hid snacks around sets, behind radiators under cushions inside books. He forgot them for days or weeks, only to rediscover and consume them without hesitation regardless of mold. Crew members watched him examine fuzzy sandwiches, shrug, and eat them anyway. He also ate directly from other people's plates. He reached into communal food bowls with unwashed hands. He picked food off the floor. The contradiction was jarring. On camera, he radiated beauty and power. Off camera, his odor cleared rooms. Production teams created Brando protocols, increased ventilation, strategic distancing, air fresheners. His talent excused behavior that would have gotten anyone else fired instantly. But even Brando's filth pales beside the man whose life descended into biological nightmare. Howard Hughes, from Hollywood titan to jar collector. Howard Hughes began as everything Hollywood worshipped: wealthy, brilliant, daring. He dated the most glamorous women alive and commanded industries. He ended his life naked in dark hotel rooms, surrounded by hundreds of jars filled with his own urine. His decline was slow, then horrifyingly sudden. Paradoxically, his intense fear of germs led to extreme, unsanitary behavior. Afraid of bathrooms, he urinated into bottles, labeled them meticulously, and stored them. Hundreds accumulated. He stopped bathing. He sat naked for days, hair matted, nails growing grotesquely long. His fingernails curled and thickened, collecting dirt and skin. He refused to cut them. He stopped brushing his teeth. Pieces broke off, which he examined with detached curiosity. Used tissues employed for everything were stacked in organized piles, sometimes reaching the ceiling. Rotting food surrounded him. Hollywood's richest man lived like an animal in a horde of waste, protected by wealth that ensured no one could intervene. While Hughes' condition was tragic, the next star's habit was disturbingly casual. Montgomery Clift, the unashamed nose picker. Montgomery Clift projected sensitivity, intelligence, and poetic depth. His performances broke hearts. Between takes, he picked his nose and ate what he found. He did it during rehearsals, mid-sentence, without embarrassment. Makeup artists developed special routines just for him. Tissues were kept on hand solely for Monty duty. After a devastating car accident and growing substance abuse, the behavior intensified. Directors instituted no picking during takes rules after near-ruin scenes. The contrast was shocking: sophistication on screen, preschool hygiene off it. Childlike compared to others, perhaps, but it revealed something deeper. The illusion was cracking, and the next star's secret lived hidden beneath tailored suits. Paul Lynde, lace beneath the laughter. Paul Lynde was America's sarcastic uncle, witty, flamboyant, unforgettable. What audiences didn't know was that beneath his suits, he wore women's lingerie. Custom-made, extensive, elaborate. For Lynde, it wasn't about shock. It was comfort, identity, and escape. Under studio pressure and forced secrecy, silk and lace became grounding. He wore lingerie during live broadcasts, formal events, even hosting Judy's. The psychological strain of hiding his true self weighed heavily, contributing to alcoholism and bitterness. Once, during a private party, his secret nearly surfaced when he jumped into a pool wearing a pink teddy. Friends protected him. While Lynde hid his truth, the next star rejected concealment entirely. Tallulah Bankhead, commando by choice. Tallulah Bankhead wore no underwear, ever. She considered undergarments restrictive to both body and spirit and made no effort to hide it. Costume changes happened in public. Modesty was irrelevant. Directors had to control wind machines. Hemlines were weighted. Special protocols were introduced after wardrobe malfunctions. Bankhead wasn't embarrassed. She was defiant. Her refusal symbolized rebellion against control, studios, society, expectations. But rebellion becomes hazard when bodily fluids enter the equation. Bette Davis, the queen of the spit bucket. Bette Davis smoked relentlessly. She chewed tobacco. She spit constantly. Studios placed spit buckets around sets. She frequently missed. Floors became splash zones. Rugs were placed for easy removal. Crew members were expected to clean her saliva without complaint. She once spat near a co-star's mark, forcing a full reset. Brilliant, tyrannical, revolting. And while Davis contaminated sets from above, the next star created danger from below. Peter Lorre, the compulsive foot picker. Peter Lorre removed his shoes before scenes. He picked at his feet, cleaned between toes, sniffed his fingers, then touched props and people without washing his hands. It happened so often that co-stars demanded visual distance clauses in contracts. He claimed it helped concentration. Others just tried not to watch. And while voluntary, the next star's habit was tragically forced. Judy Garland, Hollywood's broken child. Judy Garland was made to vomit. From age 13, studios fed her amphetamines, suppressed her appetite, and demanded thinness. When drugs caused binge eating, purging was encouraged. She learned to vomit discreetly into purses, backstage receptacles, anywhere filming wouldn't stop. The habit destroyed her body. Teeth, esophagus, electrolytes. Audiences cried as she sang. Minutes later, she was violently ill. She died at 47. And while Garland's suffering was exploitation, the next star's habit was deliberate contempt. W.C. Fields, the man who urinated in plants. W.C. Fields despised bathrooms. His solution was potted plants. He urinated in them casually mid-conversation at parties and on sets. Expensive greenery died. Hosts removed plants preemptively. He showed no embarrassment. The man who mocked society lived his contempt. Finally, we end with glamour literally rotting in real time. Carmen Miranda, the fruit hat horror. Carmen Miranda's fruit hats weren't props. They were real. Under hot lights, fruit fermented. Insects gathered. Juice dripped. She danced while flies circled her head. Ants crawled beneath bananas. The weight strained her neck. She endured headaches, pain, and stench, smiling through it all. By day's end, her headpiece smelled like compost. And still she performed. Hollywood sold perfection. What it hid was rot. Behind the glamour lived people, flawed, broken, defiant, tragic, and sometimes truly disgusting. The illusion was beautiful. The truth was not.